Hey guys, tonight, special guest, we're going to talk about watches. Welcome back, Trading Desk, Thursday.
A beautiful Thursday.
I got a special guest with me tonight. First time on Trading Desk?
No.
No?
First time in a long time.
First time in a while. So, Sequan, I want you to introduce yourself for people that don't know who you are.
CQ the Watch Guy. I think I'm the best substitute teacher on the channel, popping up everywhere. Been in industry for 9 to 10 years now. Sold retail all over. Been with the Watchbox team since 2013 or so. I love watches. I love selling watches. I love talking watches. And that is why I'm here today.
Buy, sell, trade. That's what he does.
All
That's
day,
what
baby.
We both do 24/7. So Thursday, we thank you guys for logging back into the Trading Desk. We got a cool show, kind of a quick layout for you. We're going to do some of the stuff you're familiar with. We're bringing back WTF, which are the three watches you see on the table. We'll get into those a little bit later. But customary wrist checks right off the bat. You want to go first?
Me? All right. Let's see if you get it going. Hublot Oceanographic 4000 in carbon. I love this watch. You know, some of us are blessed with, smaller wrists and can wear a nice 36 millimeter or 34 millimeter watch. And some of us are blessed with bigger wrists and can have these big hulking monsters. And I just love this watch. You can do anything you want in it. Will I ever go to 4,000 meters? You never know. If the world needs me to come rescue somebody that deep, I'll do what I have to do with this Hublot on. And I love this watch for that. I'm prepared for anything. And it just, it's a cool watch, to be honest with you.
It's never going to go more than 50 feet.
Hey, you never know. I'm ready. I'm ready.
At least
if,
it's carbon fiber, so, it'll...
It'll hold up well if I have to do a mission, I think.
All right.
I don't know if it'll block a bullet or anything. But
So CQ freelances as a free diver in his spare time.
I do once in a while.
Philadelphia Public Y.
Only when the people need me to do, to do service.
All right. Something you guys have seen and haven't seen. This is the, for those of you on the podcast that aren't watching, this is my Rolex Explorer 2. This is the 216570, so the 42 millimeter. It is off of its bracelet and temporarily on a rubber B. Which has the buckle. I prefer the rubber Bs that have the Tang buckle, so I don't have to reuse the Rolex buckle, but this is what I had, so this is what I put on here. I had to modify it a little bit, but so far so good, and actually I like the way that the black strap makes the markers pop a little bit more. So I've been happy with this. I may have cut it fraction too small, but it's working its way in there. It's a brand new strap, so
I love it. The contrast, like with the dial and the hands and everything, like it just really just looks really good.
I tried to photograph it. It doesn't photograph well. It looks good in person. The black pops on the dial.
Gotta see it.
I don't know. I gotta try an orange strap maybe, but yeah, that's it. We're gonna give the bracelet a break for about a week or so.
It is the summertime. Hot watch summer.
Boom. All right, wrist shots done in the bag. We got this thing on Trading Desk, top 5, right? So Q doesn't know what these are, neither do I.
Mm-mm.
They pop up on a screen. We try and figure it out as to why they're on top 5. What do we got? Okay.
Ooh. All right, some usual suspects.
So we got a bunch of Rolex for you, basically, is what we're saying.
Yeah, a nice Patek in there.
So
spice it up.
Got a Rolex Submariner in there. So listen, stainless steel Rolex Sub, $9,000. Gonna get clicked on.
Yep.
Datejust, that's 26 millimeter, I would assume. 3750. Probably have to be.
It has to be 26 millimeter. But I mean, the perfect gift for a lady,
Right.
Any situation, two-tone date just works. The value's there. If she doesn't like it, you trade it in a year. The value stays. And it's cool, nice little fun, funky watch.
Yeah. What about number 3? What are your thoughts?
Was that 5270R?
Yeah.
I love this watch. Really great blend of complication, finesse, simplicity. Something that I could see myself in the summer. I'm out in Italy. I'm just on the yacht and we're just enjoying life. It's summertime, so I get in my adventurous moods a little bit.
Listen,
that's what I be wearing.
Q doesn't dare to dream a little bit bigger, apparently. Yeah, cool piece. Big price tag. I'm assuming that's probably part of why it's been clicked on. Awesome watch. This is for me probably like your 10th Patek. I would assume this is something you work your way up to. It's not your first Patek, but
this might be the gateway one.
Nice complication. Relatively good size. So if you're a guy that's like, all the Calatravas are too small for me, this is a cool piece. For like you were saying, bigger wrist guys, this is something you would wear.
Yeah, it feels really good. I think this is a paddock that you see, you just starting getting to watch game and like, you're at like, a get together and somebody who's been in there for a while has this and they let you try it on and look at it and you're like, oh wow, this is interesting. I can see, I can see why. You sometimes just need to see that why, and seeing a watch like that out in the wild, does it.
Yeah. All right. What do we got on that? Number 2 is a Submariner as well. 16613 two-tone. Cool watch. I mean, I would say that two-tone, the two-tone with the blue, this specific version is better than the black in my opinion, because you might as well get something blue.
Exactly.
But cool piece. I mean, definitely Submariners always get clicked on, so
it's fun. The blue's beautiful. The value of these right now are amazing. I think two-tone Rolex are the ones that aren't, really gravitating as high as everybody else, and it really creates a good value because it's a fun, funky piece. The blue looks bright in the picture here, but out, in a normal situation, it's not too bad. And like, it's a classy watch. You can have some fun with it. Beat it up, and guess what? The value is going to still there. It's not really going to drop much below this price. You know.
And then why don't you take us away with number 1?
Number 1, the classic Rolex Day-Date, from 9950. The Score's an older style. Regardless of age, you gotta love a Day-Date. I don't care how droopy that bracelet is. It's a beautiful piece. It's gorgeous. It's classy. And it's just something about it. To me, a Day-Date, some people think it could be overboard, but it's really a nice traditional piece. And if you're into gold and into solid gold piece, what's better than a solid gold Day-Date, especially for under 10 grand? And again, value-wise, it's not going anywhere, right? You got some fun with it. Even throw it on a strap if you want to get a little classy. You could watch like do a nice his and hers if you want to share a watch with your spouse. It's a great option as well. I think there's great value, so much good value if you go a little bit older in the Rolex catalog, and it doesn't go anywhere. It's value on the wrist, and if you're a savvy trader, you're really not losing much.
Yeah, a lot of guys, I got some big-time guys that spend a lot of money on watches are starting to move more into vintage. It's interesting to see where it's coming. So market's definitely up as a whole. Vintage is cool because, it picked up, and then it dropped off, and now that all the modern stuff is picked up, I think there's a lot of vintage pieces out there that can be had for the same kind of money, and there's some real steals out there. So
yeah, so much. People, you got to explore a little bit. I think people get stuck on what's happening in the market, but there's so many great. I think like Eurostar just announced, like, if you buy a subscription, you go to their whole catalog and you just go through those magazines. You see how many great watches that people forgot about, like brands that are literally you could find at a pawn shop. They're like cool little, tool watches you beat up, have some fun with.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. Speaking of which, I just made up my mind. I'm gonna today that I'm gonna buy a blue Pelagos.
Oh,
it's
really?
ugly as all hell. I don't
ugly.
like the blue, but I'm gonna buy a cheap one and just beat the hell out of it.
I love them. Why don't you like the blue?
I don't know. It's ugly. It's not the right shade of blue for me.
It's
but
little.
you can get them, cheap enough to justify. I really like the LHD, but I'm not spending that kind of money on it.
Yeah, LG is nice. It's a cool watch, titanium, and again, like, you have so much fun with it, and when you're done, you trade it, and like, your value's pretty safe there.
All right. So that's top 5. Making a short story long over here. We've rolled in the poll for this week. We're doing a this or that in a little bit of a different way. We're going to do this or that with watches that we bought this week. So Q picked his favorite watch that he bought this week. I picked my favorite watch that I bought this week, and we're going to do a poll. That poll is in the description box. If you haven't voted already, please do so. I see the guys in the chat saying that they're voting. We're also going to be doing, if you're watching this live, I did put it in the chat, but we're going to be doing Q&A at the end of this show, so maybe
send your questions.
Queue up some questions. Get them ready. Probably not going to scroll all the way to the top of the chat to try and find questions, so just have them ready and shoot them over when we ask for them.
I will scroll to the top just to say shout out to Matt Forrester. He beat Eddie this time, so Matt Forrester is first. He gets the first award of the show. Take that sticker.
All right.
Shout out to everybody in there. Good to see you guys again.
All right. Fantastic. So let's roll into this or that. That's an interesting this or that.
Yeah, this is like...
Do you want to go first and try and defend this pick? Or
I will defend this pick. I don't think this is a hard pick to defend. So my pick is Ulysse Nardin Elise Nardin, Maxi Marine, Diver, big unit, limited edition. Dustin Johnson, pitcher, awesome. Win a lot of records, get to the watch. 45 millimeter rubber coated steel. You can do anything you want with this watch. Beautiful 18 karat gold accents on the bezels, on the hand as well. Comes with only 100 pieces made. Comes with a signed baseball. This is the perfect summer watch. Not a piece you see very often either. It popped up in released in 2012, and like every once in a while you see it. I think this is a cool UN. I love UN. I love the rubber coated cases because you can really have some fun and enjoy it and beat it up a little bit. And I think you should pick this watch over the FP Journe because you're gonna actually use this watch during the summertime, you know, on your vacations. And you should just vote for CQ, man. I think I deserve a win today. That's my pitch.
That's your pitch? Okay. CQ's gonna levy on the fact that he's a likable character and he wants you to just vote for Q. All right. So I bought this this beautiful FP Journe here from a repeat customer of mine, very good guy. 2 words, guys, Black Label, right? 40 millimeter case, platinum, Black Label. So this specific piece is the Octa Reserve. So you have the Power Reserve, grande date, you know, time, sub-second. The watch on the wrist is absolutely fantastic. That's that's my wrist. 40 millimeter case, wears perfect at home. I think a lot of the Journes in this case size, 39 to the 40 millimeter case, are fantastic. And this piece is really, really special. It doesn't pop up very often. In fact, I wouldn't move away from this stream, but in a separate, if you Google, that description, there's not another one out there. So extremely rare piece, Black Label. This is a fantastic Journe in the fact that it's a hard piece to find. It's got a really good market, but it's not overly super complicated. So you don't have to go buy like a Vagabondage, to have something super complicated.
Really top end.
I happen to love these Journes more than anything. My favorite Journe is the Senograph, which I've said before. That's about as complicated of a Journe as I'd want. But this piece right here is pretty awesome, in my opinion. So, yeah.
Well, it's beautiful. It's an elegant watch.
And I guarantee you the Journe sells faster.
Well, you say that, but again, this is a piece that's not really out there. There's only one other piece of this available in the market. There's somebody out there who's ready for the summer and ready to live life to the fullest, and this is the watch that they need. Right. I think.
So the Journe is for the type of guy who signs autographs. The UN comes with an autograph. So if you're the kind of guy that buys a watch because it comes with an autograph, then buy the UN. But if you're the shot caller that signs autographs, then you buy the Journe.
I think the same guy could have both. I think, the people on the chat know what to do. You know where to
vote. That by far is not my favorite UN.
It's a cool UN.
All right. Is it too early to pull up the votes? I don't know if we could pull a poll. I don't think we can, but maybe we can just pull a visual of the watch that's in the lead. Maybe? No? All right, moving on.
It's a UN.
We'll figure it out by the end of the show that I'm kicking Q's butt over here.
It's 50-50 after 26 votes, okay? It's dead heat
just made
for the
that
UN.
Up.
No,
he's actually watching a cartoon on his computer right now.
Listen, live results here.
All right, fake news.
No such thing.
All right. Moving on. So that's our this or that. If you guys haven't voted, vote. I'm pretty sure that chat box or that vote box stays open after the show. So if you're not watching live, you can also vote. And then, turn the tides. All right. We have a segment from a couple episodes ago I did with Mike Manjos, the first one. I liked it a lot. I got some really, really good feedback. WTF watches. So this segment is basically, I do want to preference this by saying these 3 watches that we picked are not as bad as the first 3 that we picked.
No. He's actually
the ones Manjos and I found were like, we were literally we were in the back of the vault just laughing because of how bad they were. That's how the segment was born. These are bad but can be justified. So they're not the best watches, but we'll tell you why they're here. So yeah, WTF watches with Sequan as my guest. Why don't you lead the way here?
Sure. Should I just start with the Duet?
Go for it.
So it's a pretty cool piece. Duet Academia Constant Force Tourbillon. With a beautiful kind of like a charcoal dial red. I love these watches because once again, value. $260,000 retail. We have this, I think, for around $55,000. Pretty cool use of constant force, and then just a nice, really nice, sizable tourbillon there. What makes it, a WTF watch is definitely the colors are something that you have to be down for. And, dial's a little bit different, but if you're looking for a nice, visible tourbillon in a very cool, unique case and like a value that you really can't find, I like these pieces. I had one, a Jackie Chan edition that I only ever purchased once, could never find, and I always kind of fell in love with this model based on that. But I think this is a cool little funky piece.
Okay. I wouldn't say it's a cool watch. I would say that that's a watch that retails for $250,000.
Yes, sir.
And you can have for approximately $50,000. So there's that. I guess that's a cool factor. It's a 43 millimeter platinum, solid chunk of watch.
Yes, you
right?
feel
So
it.
if you want to own some platinum that retailed for a lot of money that doesn't sell secondary for a lot of money, it's a cool piece. Listen, it's a tourbillon. It's constant force, which in my opinion is cooler than the tourbillon in terms of complication, but it's all right. I don't know. It's probably the coolest DeWitt that's made.
Ooh.
Isn't saying a whole lot. I don't know.
I'd say that.
Not a lot of love lost for DeWitt. That's a tough brand to buy and sell, man.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely in its own realm, and it's definitely a DeWitt fan base out there. But just like a lot of these kind of out there brands, the fan base realizes that hey, we can wait for a very, very good value and wait for prices to go down, and they're definitely in that situation. But if you want something funky, big, solid platinum, you go for it. As a brand, it is one of the tougher brands. Very, very speculative, but it do make some interesting pieces. For sure. $250,000 retail, $250,000. 50 grand.
50 grand. All right, I could think of a better way to spend 50 grand. But moving on. This is actually, in my opinion, this is probably catch a little flack for it. I think this is the coolest watch of the three that are on the table in terms of it being different, at least. Because, look, this is a DeWitt. It looks like every other DeWitt. They all look like that, right? Granted, you got the tourbillon beaten away. So this is a Graf. This is not by any shot of the imagination like a super superior watch. It's okay. Sapphire crystal, kind of octagonal shape. It's got this stone cut case, which is what they're known for. It's 18 karat rose gold. Power reserve, sub-second, grande date. It's definitely a luxury fashion watch, right? One of 50 pieces. You can see the composite case there in the back. Actually, really pretty movement in terms of decoration. You see the crystal there has the same kind of stone cut as the case, which is cool. We can catch it in the
nice
light.
facets.
But it doesn't, sit on the wrist weird, which is nice. It's okay. It's a pretty looking fashion watch. I could definitely see a woman wearing this, or rather eccentric kind of guy. It takes a special look, but this is a watch that had a retail of like $56,000, I think, or something like that. And I think this watch is around $18,000 right now. So again, it's one of those pieces. Like, can we justify? One of the cool things for me is like inside the buckle, they have that composite material that the case is made out of. There's also a pretty cool little like adjustment right here to move the strap in and out. So there's some nice details here. So for me, for something that you want, at least that's funky and different. The DeWitt looks like $10,000 DeWitts in my opinion. Just the case style, but that's me. Again, all these watches kind of suck, but to me, that's the least suckiest one.
They're definitely great execution there, and like a lot of well done touches with the facets on the case, facets on the sapphire case back, the buckle and all that. But you got to really be, really in love with like stones to rock that watch. Or again, I think for the right lady, it's a beautiful watch. It's actually perfect, but you really gotta, you have to, be a trailblazer in the fashion department, I think. Which, there are people out there who can put this together and make it work perfectly. But it's definitely like, I go do it all day, to be honest.
So 15 grand versus 50 grand. I don't know. They're both not watches that I would spend. But anyways, I digress. Moving on to this. Do you know anything about this watch?
I'll be completely transparent. I have no idea. We were just kind of in the vault, and we saw this, and it was like,
So from my
Yeah.
very short understanding of this is Pierre de Roche, I believe is how it's pronounced.
they're gonna get you in
This
the
is
chat.
a gentleman who I believe worked for AP for a little while, whose family was into watchmaking for a long time, and left and started his own thing. I think they were like, if memory recalls, like 2008 startup. Don't think they're around anymore. Don't think they did very well.
Things happen.
This is it's an okay watch for $5,000. So you have here, I'll give you the short and sweet of it. So you got a running sub-second, right? You got a 24-hour. You have a flyback chronograph and pointer date at the top. It's a screw-down crown, relatively sporty, although it's on this alligator strap. Not the highest decorated movement. This kind of has a very much like a Vogard or like a Franck Mueller feel to me.
Yeah.
Like maybe not like a super high-end Franck Mueller, but like early cheap Franck Muellers. Or
It definitely has like a nice like oomph
maybe
to
like
the
a-
case.
like
There's
a
like a
kind of
character
a-
there.
a BRM aspect to it.
I see
It's,
BRM in that.
Yeah, I mean it's an okay watch. I don't know, $5,000. I think it retails for like $28,000. So they were kind of medium, a lot of complication, but all kind of like medium complications. Nothing too crazy. But that is not a great watch.
Nah, I think there's just a lot going on with the dial there. To be honest with you, I think maybe without the pointer date we can work. The colors kind of cool, but I don't know if the colors with the sunburst, because you have like sporty with classic finish. I can understand like in the creative room where this kind of looked cool, but in the execution it looks like a sports watch meets more just your class watch, but just not. Like I don't think they knew who their customer was when they were designing this watch. And a lot of brands have that issue today. But when you're a smaller brand, you really, you only have a few shots in the revolver there. And I think this one might have been a dud.
Yeah, it's not a great piece. There's some comments in there, junkers. Yeah, I could see that vibe. Yeah, listen. I think the coolest perspective of the WTF watches or whatever however you want to play them out on the trading desk is value perspective.
Yes.
Right. So, trading desk at its heart, we talk about the market. We talk about, bang for the buck, what the watch brings for its money. When you look at all three of these watches with crazy retails for, pennies on the dollar, it really goes to tell you that like public opinion, the market shifts everything. So, we can talk about bubbles. They'll change. We can talk about when you talk about pieces like this that are laying around for pennies on the dollar, it's for a reason. And it's proof in the pudding.
Yeah,
as we would say.
a definitely value proposition, but it's interesting because like there are people out there who love these certain types of watches, and like especially this graph, something that we have in the teens now. But in the right situation, somebody would. I could see a scenario where somebody pays close to retail for that watch because like they're like romancing it and they're buying some really nice jewelry and like they get some money to burn. So like everybody has their own flavor. I'm trying hard.
And on that segue, all three of these pieces are for sale. Please
Yes.
call us at... No, just kidding. They are
sure.
for sale, so we're not doing ourselves any
They
favors.
would love to give you a deal.
But, yeah, I'm sure we'd cut you a deal on any of those things. Real quick, I just want to throw it out there because I didn't do it last show. Do you have an Instagram?
I do CQ_ the watch guy. I don't know why I put .com. CQ_ the watch guy on Instagram.
It's cool. We're not live. We'll rewind that back.
Yeah, just erase that from your memory.
Evo_watches. Follow me. Follow Q.
Yeah. Message, ask questions.
If you want to buy that graph, I'll cut you a hell of a deal.
Yeah, I mean like the duet. I know like I probably have 5 emails already in duet. We're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Started a bidding war right here.
All right, so that's our WTF watches.
By the way, the UN is winning right now. So the people is resonating with the people. You see that's the thing about that UN. It resonates with their heart.
Yeah, that's
Keep
Josh,
those votes coming.
Josh Thanos has his Russian hacker bots voting for your UN there.
Thank you, Thanos.
We all know the Russians like their UNs. All right, we're gonna move to Q&A. Some questions, some answers. You're gonna ask questions. We're probably gonna dance around a little bit, but all right. So send them in, guys. 55 votes apparently they're saying from.
Ooh, I should do CQ the buffet guy and
What
do
do you
like
got?
a food Instagram. I think that'd be pretty cool.
CQ the buffet guy. Okay, that's different.
Let's see. Any watch-related questions?
A lot of TGV questions.
5K for a flyback is a good value. Technologically, it is a really, really great watch. And again, like for the price, you're really not really losing much, right? It's not something that you really want to sell back, but something that you trade and you could, you put on Chrono 24 and you get most of that value back. If you want something funky and fun, why not, right? You got to take a few leaps of faith out there. The Royal Oak wasn't a hit when it immediately came out, right? Damn, I'm sorry I compared that to Royal Oak. Erase that. Might be my last shot.
One of those, yeah. So this is CQ's probationary episode.
Yep.
So since Thanos is gone, we've had a few guests on. I told him this was his one shot, so you're not coming back.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, Mike Michaels, who can really stand up to the great
Mike Michaels'
right?
show was fun as hell. I should probably drink on this show more. It was a good show.
Whiskey doesn't hurt.
Never hurts anything.
Is it anything watch
related? All right, question. How do you feel about the fact? Well, never watched them. He'll never sell any of the watches on the table. That's funny. The first two of the first three watches, the What the Fuck watches we brought last week, or 2 weeks ago, sold. So,
yeah.
Hey, listen. Someone that had more money than you, that wanted something different, bought that watch.
You ever see somebody driving a car that you're I can't believe that car is actually on the road, and somebody, it happens. Everybody has their own taste and everybody likes watches for different reasons, right? There might be somebody who's, into gemology or geology and just really loves the fastest of stones, and just really kind of resonates with that watch. And it's a beautiful navy and gold is a really great color combination. So you can kind of convince yourself. These are definitely watches you want to have in person. Definitely not tourbillon. If you want a really nice quality made tourbillon for great value, these will sell. Things might take a little while, but they'll definitely go.
I got a question from Tariq. Should I sell my BLNR and get something in higher horological brands, or hold on to it? So I'm assuming you're talking about the Oyster, the original Batman. They've never been worth more money. We did see a little bit of a downtick, so we're going to see, because the Jubilees are starting to become a little bit more available. Yeah. So the Oysters dropped just a tad by $500. If it's me, man, I sell the watch, and I probably start looking for something that's not an AP, not a Rolex.
I think this is a great time.
If you're going to sell the watch and move into another Rolex, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But if you do want to go ahead and try and move into some Vacheron or something where you can buy some real value, then I'd sell the watch, because it's a great time to do so.
A great time to leverage value. If you have Batmans, if you have Pepsis, all the hot Rolexes, because I don't know, the ceiling isn't going to go that much further to me, and the Jubilees are going to start going on before we know it. Basel is going to come around, and the Basel rumors, and then what's going to be the next hot watch, and then you're going to see another adjustment as well. So I think right now is the perfect time. If you have a piece, if you have a Batman, and you're not really connected to it, this is probably the best time to leverage in, get something in the high horology, get something you love. Don't be in a rush, but if a nice opportunity pops up, I think now is when you do it, because it only gets more speculative from here in the summer months. And again, as soon as Basel comes around the corner and the time goes by so fast, then it becomes the next watch everybody's chasing, and you lose that premium where everybody's just hunting for these because there's nothing else out there. So I think definitely leverage your pieces. Now is the time.
A lot of guys agreeing with that. VC Gen 3 better than BLNR. Hands down, better watch in terms of...
Great pickup.
Yeah, complication. The Gen 3, like I said, is way better than Gen 2 in pretty much every way except for how it looks. But just my opinion. Vacheron's a good watch, and they are... they can be had, Yeah. They're not... You're not buying retail, so...
Vacheron and Elan right now probably the best pieces value-wise. You could throw JLC in there to pick up right now, because everybody's kind of spread into all the other independents right now. Or other kind of high-end brands that you can just get them at such great value if you know what you're looking for. Definitely, this is the time to buy, because I think there will be a flip back when people start to go back into those brands again.
Mm-hmm. All right, lots of chatter. People asking about Josh. Josh left the company, and he's back in Florida. They're working very hard to sure up starting a family, so he's got a lot of family stuff going on down in South Florida. Yeah, living his best life right now.
Shout out to Blake. There's a couple shout outs here. Who else is in there? JBO Surf. all the regulars, man. It's awesome to see you guys keep coming day in, day out, you know, since like the channel really started. Really, we thank you guys so much. It means a lot. You guys continue to tune in and hear us just talk watches.
Getting Horology Homies. That's a freaking awesome handle.
Yeah, I like that. Trademark
any
that.
pitches for the Blancpain, the new Hodinkee Blancpain? We've had a couple guys that we've heard that have gotten them. The one guy I did talk to said he's going to see how it looks on the wrist. I don't think anybody's buying them just to flip them right away.
Yeah, it's a really good looking
So
watch.
38 millimeter, I think a lot of people are curious to see if it's going to wear like a 39. I'm sure there'll be some that hit the market,
Yeah.
you know, like anything. But
I don't know if it'll go like crazy. I think it'll be something where you can like get out at retail and wear it for a little bit or enjoy it, just like the Speedmaster. I don't think it'll be too crazy, but a great edition by them, great move by Blancpain, and I really like the idea of brands doing these small, cool, limited edition batches that are like fun, unique, and like kind of create what you had like in the 90s where there were just these small batches that people chase for and you really couldn't find, and
Sure.
it's kind of cool to see that going on.
all right, cool. Let's see here. Alvin's watching from Singapore. What's going on, man? We got some friends out in Singapore.
Ooh, Geezer, Richard Long, PLM versus FPJ Chrono Optimum. That's such tough. I want to say, oh man, I really like the Long. You can flip a coin there. They wrote really great watches, great movements, great technology. Value wise, I think FPJ is on the way up. So if you're thinking that, I kind of lean FPJ, but those Longs, you don't see that too many of them out there. If you get a good price on it, I say either way, pull the trigger, enjoy.
Yeah, I'd probably go for the FP Journe just in terms of I believe he's going to be, you know, Longue is Longue. They're going to be around. They're probably going to do some, you know, they do amazing watches, but they're probably going to do some awesome stuff in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
But I don't think they have the perpetual scale that I see FP Journe taking in the next couple of years in terms of becoming the top independent watchmaker and kind of cornering a market.
Yeah, no, they're definitely like lightning in a bottle of great watchmaker, great story behind it. Not too many pieces out there. You know, the production is still so very, very low, but still somewhat available because not everybody's on the bandwagon. So you're at an interesting time. The pre-owned pieces, his earlier stuff are doing very, very well. The brass movement pieces are going crazy, and his newer stuff is starting to pick up too. And like, he's still pushing forward on technology. So it's really a very interesting brand. It's definitely a brand. Like, if you're interested in independent, check out FP Journe because so many things that are beautifully done there, and value-wise, it actually turned it into a very interesting situation. They're not a brand that I played with a lot before I got here, but since I've been here, I've really been blessed to see so many cool pieces, and I love them.
I would say that both brands were brands that I have had a different type of idea about before I put a lot of hands on them. So it's tough when you're, you know, just a guy on the internet, or you have one watch friend, or you don't have an AD that carries Journe or Longue, because
It's hard.
It's tough to see them. But after being exposed to the brands and really starting to feel out like what they're about and who they are, and handling a bunch of different watches, I do like Longue more than I did, you know, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Exponentially fell in love with Journe, hands down, more than I liked it 3 years ago. When I first found out about Journe was about 5 years ago, and to me it was like, you know, they're cool, but they're not, you know, but just going down the rabbit hole of learning all the complications about, you know, learning the ideology behind, you know, what he likes to build, meeting them, you know, handling some of the vagabondage, handling the Senograph, which is just amazing to watch, and you know, they're really special. So,
Yeah, no.
and I think a lot of people are starting to discover that.
Yeah.
That's what's coming on.
Journe's one of those brands that like you have to like somebody that's kind of like educate you a little bit. I think with some of these watch brands, like different languages, and like we know generally, you know, a little bit, but you need somebody to really explain the roots of it to really get you into it. Aries Gaming 51, Long isn't independent, but we often put them in with independent watches with the pieces they make, and they don't make too many, so they're not a true independent. But in terms of I'd say their watchmaking spirit, they're much more independent than a lot of brands that are hooked up with big groups. You know, in the same vein that you kind of put JLC in there, where they really move like an independent, and they have a lot of core production stuff, but have a lot of cool little smaller batch things as well.
There's a lot of people referencing. There's a whole conversation here that I may have missed, but people are mentioning Seiko. It's a fantastic watch. You guys know I love Seiko. Hard to go wrong. Good starter watch, good medium watch, good beater watch. So throughout the evolution of your collection, Seikos are present.
I think Kesselwitz, would you trade a 2018 BLNR for a 2015 pre-ceramic Daytona valued around $16K? That Daytona would have to be, in my opinion, a very, very clean piece, not much polish, if any. Look at that bezel. And it has to be a full set for me to do that trade without like a little bit cash back, I think.
Yeah, I think it's so in terms of both watches are on the up. I think future potential, the Daytona probably has some more future potential, but that's a little high for market right now. So if it's a newer piece and, like you said, very little wear, hasn't been polished, and is a full set, not necessarily drop tags, but like full box papers and books, then I think you're probably about there. Plus, for the difference of about $500 or so, which is probably the cash you should want back, is whether or not you really like the Daytona that much, Right. I wouldn't do it just to move sideways, but if you've always wanted a Daytona and this is the only way you're going to, get one, maybe it's a good play. Watchbox Studios reporting in that the UN is winning by 3 votes.
Let's keep it going. Let's bring this home. I think, you guys can do, one more for the Gipper. We all know the UN is a better watch, not in terms of technology, not in terms of, finesse, but in terms of what you want to wear tomorrow on the beach, sipping that, I don't know, that Mai Tai, that pina colada, that mojito, depending where you are. You want that UN on the wrist, I'm just saying. Just saying.
There are some good UNs. That one is not my favorite one.
I think UN is one of those brands you can have so much fun with because they made so many little. They even made a Game of Thrones watch, which is the one. It's so weird, but it's the one watch I can never get my hands on just to see it. I just wanna. It's not even that Game of Thronesy, but it's just I just want it.
Did it for you?
It just did it. Just hit
I'm
that.
surprised that's not a Romain Jerome because they like to do their theme stuff.
And I would definitely wear Romain Jerome Pikachu, even though you weren't asking. I'm just letting you know. I would wear that watch.
Have we ever had one?
No, I don't think so. I think we had like the Space Invader. I think
we've had a few, but I've never seen the Pikachu.
Because when you get the Pikachu, you keep it. You don't sell it.
I've seen the Batman.
Batman's pretty cool too.
That was pretty cool. And then we have one that's like the volcano one. That one's actually the dial, and that one's freaking sick. Different, but super cool. All right. I don't know if do you want to do enough. You got one? Go for it.
Moonwatch versus Explorer 2. I didn't see the color dial. And Ari's Gaming 51. I am a true salesman, one of the best in the world. Explorer 2 versus Moonwatch. That is a very interesting.
I guess it would depend on which Explorer 2 and which Moonwatch, but I mean,
that's a flip a coin situation.
It's not for me, man. I mean, it's tough to say that you would pick a Moonwatch over Explorer 2.
It is really what speaks to you there. You want to say like Explorer 2, especially like if it's a white dial. It's hard not to go white dial versus the Moonwatch. But there's something about like a Moonwatch to just like hit some notes, right?
It also, what are we trying to accomplish? Is it the watch that you love the most? Is it the watch that's going to hold value? Is it a complication war because there's a chronograph versus a GMT, which are like not apples to apples. If it's a white dial Explorer 2, it's always going to be worth more than a black dial Explorer 2. Any Explorer's generally going to be worth more than a Speedmaster of the same genre. So, if we're trying to value retention, bang for the buck, value retention is one thing, bang for the buck is another. So, for relatively less money you can get the Speedmaster, right? It's got history, it's got all that. Is it going to do the same thing it's going to make you feel the same way as when you're wearing a Rolex Explorer 2? Probably not. But that's why most guys start with the Speedmasters and work their way up. Not to say you can't have both or you can't even go the other way. You got to experience everything and figure out what it is for you. That's what collecting is.
Yeah, 100%. But there's something about a white dial, like your watch, like sings a perfect note when you look at it. Like everything's just at peace.
Yeah.
Do you believe Omega is dead? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think some of the new, I don't know. They make some questionable decisions.
I think they have a production problem. If you look at if you go to Omega dealer and ask them for the master catalog, it is a very big book. They need to slim that book.
They make a lot of watches. They make a lot of models, and they make a lot of watches. There's a lot of stuff out there. They make some questionable decisions in terms of limited edition runs, like the piece everybody wants now, the Steel Anniversary Moonwatch.
Yes.
I think they made like 169 of them or something like that instead of 1969 or whatever the number is. It's just like an astronomical amount of. It's not. I don't know how you would consider that a true limited edition. I mean, I guess in strictest sense, it's a numbered limited edition piece, but that's a lot of watches, man. And I get from an economic standpoint, you want to make sure, the company's healthy by selling those watches. But at the end of the day, like, let's scale back. Let's make less watches. Let's make them more special. I don't know. I think that they could be in serious trouble in the next 3 to 5 years if they don't do something.
Yeah, I think they're definitely blessed because they have a big bank. And I think they get into the situation with limited editions because you have a situation where you produce almost any 007 Bond watch you produce sells out. And you have a very large limited edition number. You get something like the Snoopy, it sells out. But then you try to keep doing that and certain watches, it's okay to only make 200 pieces. It's okay to only make 100 pieces. I think they need to get back into that realm. There's not that many, only really the Bond watch. You can have that consistent, like, hey, it's going to be such a broad release and everybody loves Bond. It kind of works out.
I agree. So, back Swatch Group, big bank, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think you can ever they're too big to get to 100 pieces, but I do think you need to keep things like under $2,000.
Yeah.
Right? Under 2,000 pieces. I think we need to roll back. Some of the price points have gotten a little bit crazy. I think we need to roll back some price points. I think we need to worry less about box presentation and more about movement finishing, although some of the new machine movements are actually very pretty, but they're not done by hand. They have a very solid history. They are standing on a pretty solid foundation. I'm a little scared for the future of the company. I think that with some tweaking and some right moves and maybe scaling some stuff back and making it special again, they have a pretty good future. But things right now, like there's no Omega that's been released that's just everybody's dropping what they're doing to try and find the watch.
I'd agree with
it's
that.
like, all right, we'll see it when it comes out.
I'd agree very much when you say retail pricing because I remember vividly in like 2012 or 13 when all the 8500 series stuff started landing and like the guy who was on a cruise the year before wanted to look at a chrono and it was like, I don't know, like $5,000 and now it's like 9,000. Like, oh, well, now I got to think about a Rolex. Now I got to think about, I could get into JLC. You kind of put yourself in different conversations where before it was just like you versus Breitling and you'd almost always win that battle because Omega is such a cool thing. And we understand, hey, you got to pay more money because it's in-house movements, but I think at a certain point they price themselves out of their core business that really drive them and really that's why the Moon watch is something that can never be a watch more than $7,000, right? Because then it becomes crazy. It needs to be at the price point where it's at, or you lose that buyer.
Right. So, point fact. So, Rob Ward, shout out to Rob Ward with his statement rather than a question, said that Omega could put a 321 in a regular Speedy for $6,000 to $8,000 and print money all day long.
Yeah.
Which I agree with. But then what do you do? Do you kill the 005? Do you kill the 006? Or do you make a third regular steel Speedmaster? So that's the question. If you want to kill the 005 to do it, then you have a 321 in a closed case back. Who wants that?
Nah.
No, you want a 321 in an exhibition case back. So do you kill the 006 Sapphire Sandwich, which is probably their best-selling Speedmaster?
100%. Probably one of the best-selling SKUs.
So,
right?
Yeah, exactly. So, but that watch is, we know what that watch retails for, but you can get that watch for $3,500 to $3,800 on pre-owned market. So, are you going to spend $6,000 to $8,000 to get a 321? At the end of the day, you could probably go find a vintage 321 for pretty good money. So, I don't know. Those are, I don't run Omega. That's a hard answer. I can't answer that question.
This is
I would have
ship.
to know all of the analytics. But they make way too many SKUs. The stuff that does sell is not as scarce as it probably should be. And when it does sell at retail, it's very expensive. But they have those pretty boutiques that I'm sure cost a lot of money to maintain.
Yes.
They have very, very nice window displays.
The champagne.
Which costs a lot of money.
Yes.
Which just, I hope you guys realize when you go to one of those boutiques, you're paying for that. So buy the watch pre-owned. Just get great deals. But all right, I'm gonna go ahead and call that. I don't have a timer, but that feels like a pretty good length of show.
40 minutes
Just
or
wearing,
so.
We're both wearing timers. We buy, sell, and trade things that
I think
track
it's about
time.
40 minutes.
But anyways, thanks guys. Happy Thursday night. I appreciate
Thursday.
you logging in. Hopefully this makes your weekend a little bit better if you catch it on Friday. Take it easy. Thanks, Q.
Thanks for watching.
Coming in, man.